cellular telephone coverage are the areas in blue. Okay? If you're in an area in blue, you got bad cell phone service. If you're anywhere else, you got somebody that's covered. So you see our problem. Now, why does this map matter? Why are we asking y'all to help us challenge this map? Why are we doing that? Well, one of the ways in which we get service to rural areas is through federal funding to put cellular telephone towers out in the areas where otherwise it would not be profitable for a company to go and put a tower in. It costs about $500,000 to put up a cellular telephone tower and light it up, make it useful. You think about this, you think about this just a minute. If you were a company and you went out and spent $500,000, you could only sign up 50 people, and to be competitive, you're getting $100 off of those people. It takes you a little while to get that back, right? $100 a month. So we know it's not profitable for every area in the country to get a cell phone tower. So we've said that one of our policies is we're going to get cellular service to everybody. So the federal government gives out funds each year to put these towers up. Those funds come from you and I. If you look on your cell phone bill and your home phone bill, it's called Universal Service Fund. But to be very clear, Mississippi gets some of the highest percentages of that money of any state in the United States of America. Okay? It's been many years. We put in about $60 million of what we pay on our phone bills, and we're able to get back around $160 million this year. So it ain't a bad trade. If this map goes uncontested, if it stands as if it is today, okay, then what you're going to have is we're going to lose any ability to get funding for rural cellular telephone. And when I say rural, New Albany's rural. It's just a terminology out there. We're not going to have the ability to get funding for towers because the funding allocated to each state is only going to go for the areas in blue. Okay? We're going to lose the ability. All of Union County shows to be covered. Y'all are what? Pretty much under those second set of S's somewhere right in there. We will not get one dime of funding for new cellular telephone towers in this area if, in fact, this map is left to stand. How do we challenge that map? That's where you come in place. So tonight, we're going to talk about two things. First is cellular telephone service that signals speed. A lot of people use their phone for internet service because they ain't got nothing better. We'll talk about that in a separate box, but that's the first thing. So we're going to talk about two things. First is cellular telephone service data, signal strength, speed. To be honest with you, if you look at that map, we're on the map. We got a real school teacher in the back now at the university. I'm going to sound like a school teacher. We're on the second slide, the second exhibit, second thing in the packet, which is the map. If you look at that map, the reason it shows that every area in Mississippi is covered is because Verizon says that they've got coverage everywhere. Now, some of y'all are probably Verizon customers. Jerry, I know you are from your article. Nan, you are. They don't have coverage everywhere, and they show that they do. But other of the phone companies have data that shows that they're covering areas. So we went to the FCC and said, look, we know this map in Mississippi is wrong. If you look at this map, we know more areas lack adequate coverage than the areas in blue. We know it. I mean, if this map's correct, only about 5% of our state's land mass, 10% of our state's land mass has a problem. So the FCC said, well, we'll allow you, each state, to create a way to show us data that disputes what the carrier says. That takes, for instance, Verizon and says, yeah, wait a minute, that's not correct. These figures are not all right. These areas shown to be covered not right. Or the other phone carrier. And they created a smartphone map that I want to go over with you. And you have to have a smartphone to do this. This is the one downside of it, but it's a fact. So if you've got a phone that's not a smartphone, just stay with us because I'll give you some ways to help us with that. But right now, this is the way the FCC has said that they're going to take data to show that in fact the numbers provided for these maps are wrong. If you've got a smartphone, it's very simple. You can go to Google Play. If you've got an Android, if you're an iPhone, you go to iTunes. It doesn't cost a penny. And you download the app that looks just like that, FCC Speed Test. Some of y'all download it right now. That takes just a second. When you download that, well, I'll give y'all a minute. Those of you who don't download it, take just a second. We'll do it. If you download that, it takes just a second. Have you got it searched on your phone? Okay, you downloaded it now? Okay. Any of y'all got it on there, if you've already phoned it on. So, anybody got it downloaded? All right, good. I'm gonna walk through this. You probably have it already done. All right, this gentleman. Yeah. Who are you with?
AT&T.
Oh, there you go.
Well, wait a minute. Can I throw something in there really crazy, okay?
Yeah.
AT&T, how much are they charging you a month? I buy the same cell phone service off the same tower for Pure Talk for $40 a month. Unlimited.
All right, so if you pull the app up and you've got this, and you downloaded it, it's going to ask you. You don't care if I walk through this, since you're giving them access to do it. So he's not hurting. This data will go third party. All we're doing right here is just authorizing, okay? And we go to it. So once you've gone through the authorizations, it will pull up for you a screen. And this is all in your handout, so you can take a look at it. This shows your screen tips. It'll say, you'll see in the middle of it in a black bar, run now. Y'all got it downloaded. Did you see that? Or is it taking this minute? I'm sorry. We are here to talk about bad cell phone service, right?
You said download?
It should be. Yeah, there you go. Run now. You see that on there? We'll give everybody just a minute to get there. Okay? Any of y'all got it? All right, here we go. See it? All right, you got a black bar that says run now. This is in your slides. It takes just a minute. It's as simple as anything. At first, it's going to ask you how much data do you want to allow. These speed tests don't take hardly any data from your data plan, but it will say, that you're allowing to use 100 bytes a month, but you can add to that. You're going to probably want to add to it. If you do 3 speed tests, it's going to say, do you want to exceed your capacity? And you want to, but you can go into settings. Excuse me, sorry. You go into settings right there, and monthly data cap. It's got it right now at 100. You can add that to be, 1,000, and that way you never run over it. So if you get the app up, you hit run now. This gentleman's on AT&T. It's going to say when you pull it up, you still ain't got it come up on your phone. Yeah, who you with? AT&T.
That's Verizon.
Whose is this? Yours is Verizon. All right. So it's going to pull it up when you hit run now. Hit run now. When you do that, it's going to pull it up and it's going to say download, upload, latency, loss, or all. What it's asking you there is what kind of test do you want to run? Do you want to run just one on download? Do you want to run just one on upload? Do you want to run just one on latency and loss? Do you want to click all? Okay? The minute you click all, it starts down there. It says allow speed test to access your location while you're using the app. You want to allow that because what it's doing, do what? Okay, hit run test, black bar. Okay, what does it pull up? Now hit all. Yep. So you're running a test right now.
It's wanting my Apple ID.
Sir?
It's wanting my Apple ID.
Oh, yeah, you'll probably have to have an Apple ID account to download it.
I don't have a password here.
Somebody can work with you on that. We don't want to get your credit card. That takes some. It's free, so it doesn't take anything. You have to
I have one, I just don't have it with me.
Okay, yeah. Once you get it going, you're ready to go. Okay, best target's going to say Chicago, New York, Washington. What they're looking to is the major pots in the country. Don't worry about that. That is inconsequential. When you hit run now, it begins running that speed test. And so this gentleman's phone, he's with Verizon, he's getting 76 megabits per second download, 11 up, latency at 59.25 and no loss. So he's got a pretty good signal. He's got 3 bars. and he has completed that test. You hit done. When you hit done, you're right back at that screen where you run another test. It's going to start showing an average for this week. That first test shows up as the average, right? Because we just did one. If you do another one and it's less, it averages it out for you. What's going on as you're downloading and doing these tests? It's pulling your latitude and longitude. Latitude and longitude knows exactly where we're standing. And it's looking at everything that could be involved, in your speed, your latency, your loss. Latency is where, y'all ever had it when you click something, that wheel just spins and spins and spins?
I know.
Yeah, so that is your latency. I was yesterday, I did about 170 of these tests myself, just going around the western portion of Etowah County. Some of them would be like 1,295 latency. I mean, that's, slow as Christmas to make it work. I'm gonna keep your phone just a minute. Sit over here.
You gotta remember, you obviously have better service than, I live 4 miles north.
Right. Yeah, I'm just using this as an example. So when you get home, you're gonna run a test at home, and it's gonna record that. Okay. We want you, and we're asking you to run as many of these tests as you're willing to do. Again, it's gonna come up if you don't change the amount of data. It's going to come up, do you want to override the data use? This is not using up much data. You can do about 3 tests with the 100 that it's allowed. So you're going to want to add, like on mine, I just went in there and put 5,000 because you're not going to, it's not costing you anything. You'll be able to see it. But you're going to be running, you'll want to run your test. You want to be cognizant of it, but at the same time, it takes data to run the test. If you, let's say that at your house, you've got bad service in your living room, and you walk out to your barn, and you got bad service at your barn. You need to do a test in your living room, a test at your barn. If you go to church, and you got bad service in the sanctuary and bad service in the fellowship hall, do a test in both places. It is pulling your latitude and longitude at that moment, wherever you are. It's recording those speeds, and it's telling us exactly what we need to know about what you're facing.
Now that's doing it only on your carrier, isn't it?
That's correct. Now, if somebody in your family's got a C Spire phone, and you got an AT&T phone, if you'll get them to either type in their name and click yes, or we'll get a way to get them signed up. Because let me stop here and say, if you have people that want to help with this, and they're just not here tonight, because we've had 400 knocking on 500 sign up across the state, and people, it's school starting, ball games, I got all that. There are people who want to help. All they've got to do is, I'm going to give you an email address at the end of this, and they can send an email to that address. We'll get them to sign off just like you're doing on the iPad, and they're part of the team. We're making this as easy as we humanly can to get as much help as we can. So back to that. You run your tests. You're running multiple tests for us. You're continuing to run these tests as much as you're willing to do. Because the more tests you run, the better off it is. The FCC wants to see multiple numbers of communities and areas documented. This app is storing every bit of that. You ain't got to fiddle with it. You don't have to fiddle with it. It's storing it. It's storing it for you. So if you want to go back, you can, of course, go back to the slideshow. It is easy to walk through as far as what you need to do. Turn with me to page 3 just a minute. On page 3, you'll see at the top, use your own experience as a starting point in determining dead zones of poor coverage. So, as I said, if you know that every time you're at wherever, whether you're at home and your phone don't work, you don't get a signal, you don't have data. If you know that, using your own experience, you want to do a test. Knowing where you get ticked off is where we want you to start. In your packet, you're going to see just a little old typed out sheet that says Union County Code complaints broken down by community name and town. Now, y'all see it, it's right toward the back. It should be right toward the back. It starts off with Alpine, ends with Temperate Seal, 188. Got it? Now, this is by no means every complaint This is by no means every complaint that we've gotten, every area that's got bad service, every citizen that has bad service. But these are the people who use our Zap the Gap program to report bad service. So this is just the in-house stuff we have. So you'll see 25 people from Cotton Plant, 29 from Evan, 28 Pinedale, Campbell's 18, 11 from Myrtle. Some of them just have one. People can continue to go to our website and type that in if they'd like to. We're going to use that. But this just gives you an idea. If you're in those areas, we know there's trouble there. Based upon 188 people that have contacted our office in one form or the other to stop. So use your own experience. You can consult the little list we gave you for Union County. Also, you do not have to be, just because you signed up for Union County, you don't just have to be in Union County. If you go to Pontotoc County and you got a problem, document it there. If you go to Lee County, anywhere in the state of Mississippi, document it for us, okay? But Union, we're just trying to put groups together based on county, but that's not, you're not bound just to do it in Union County. Second bullet is very important. In order to successfully challenge an area's coverage, the FCC requires multiple speed tests in that specific area. That's why I told you that if you don't work in the living room and you go to the barn, do them in both areas. Technically, they don't, we didn't put this on here, but just to help, they do not want to see tests in an area more than a half mile apart. So if, you could do one here at the courthouse, you could go to downtown and do one at Sugar Ridge, you could do one at the Tallahassee Bridge, just as long as we're not more than a half mile apart. Don't let that stick in your head. Because that is, I'm putting that out there, if you just want to really document an area, keep them within sequentially between that. But what you're going to help us with is fan out a wide net in Union County. Because we're going to come in, myself, Orlando, our paid staff, the people you're paying to do this, we're going to come in and we're going to go to Etta. We're going to go to Myrtle. We're going to go to County. We're going to go to where we know the highest number of people have contacted our office and said, we got problems. We're going to do that. But what we're asking our task force to do is fan out for us. All right? So if you're at the, wherever, and you see you got a bad signal, go ahead and do it and send it in, and it will record it.
Let me ask you this.
Sure.
When you fan out and you come to Etta, what will you or Lane or whoever comes, what will they physically do?
All right, so we're going to be doing exactly what you're going to do.
Okay.
Except we're going to be doing it at no more than a half a mile. We're going to be doing it based upon, and this is why, so I don't want anybody to get hung up on this. I'm sharing this with you, but it is, we're going to take care of putting your numbers in the right spot. But FCC wants to document it by census block. If I were to try to give you tonight the census blocks in Union County, you'd go home, throw your hands up and say, forget it, I don't want to deal with trying to figure out census blocks. That's the reason we're saying do as many as you can, as many areas as you can. We will take everything you give to us and we will pinpoint it into the census block where you can.
So we can just go randomly?
Where you want to.
Randomly.
That's correct.
Okay.
Obviously, you want to go somewhere where signal strength's slow or where it's not. It will show failed. According to the FCC, when it shows failed, then it's going to record that latitude and longitude to show a failed attempt to document.
So if
Sure.
you're showing no service, is it still gonna, is it somehow gonna be that fail
Yes.
through there?
Yes,
Because like
ma'am.
in our church sanctuary, there is some unit
Right.
service.
You're not be on your phone in church, no way, so you just told on yourself. I'm kidding. No, you're right. It will show failed. I did something yesterday. I went out yesterday and tried to give you how the magnitude of these problems. I started at 11 o'clock yesterday in western Etowah County. And at 11 o'clock last night, I'd gone 134 miles in 11 hours. But I've taken 200 something speed tests, right? That's why we've got to have you doing a few in Etta and a few here and there on your spare time. But yes, ma'am, it will record that. It will tell you that you had an area that showed failed. It'll show failed. And at that point, it's showing the latitude and longitude. Now again, I'm going on what, as of yesterday, I called their lawyers on this because I hit that. And it said, we can't do it, but it said it's recording latitude and longitude, so you should be good. We're gonna verify that again, though. The guy called me back today, I was in the middle of something, when I tried it back, he's coming. Quite frankly, the failed areas are what we're trying to show. So when you go and it says no service, you need to do a test. This is going to help us be able to look at that and the accuracy of the math. So everything you do with this smartphone app has multiple benefits in consumer protection. Yes, we're going to be able to show it to the FCC and challenge those census forms to save our rural funding. That's one part of it. But secondly, we want to see what really is happening in these communities and why it's a problem there. So if you got one bar, give you an example. I was on the John Rankin Highway last night about 10 o'clock. And I pull over and I do a test. It showed I had 2 bars. But it failed the test with 2 bars. So, we want to show that, right? We want to show that that problem exists and this is what happened. So, yes, sir, take them anyway. If you know you're having problems, you have a problem loading an app, anything like that, go ahead and do it. If you know when you send that text message, that bar goes over and stays there forever, that's the place you need to do a field test. Do as many of them as you're willing to do, as close, not close together, but as spaced out as best you can and will. Please try to do at least 5 for us if you know you're in an area of bad coverage. Because we're needing 5 as a magic number. Again, we're coming behind you to the areas that we know are the worst. But the more we get, the better. Because we may get 5 people on this task force that may be somewhere that was not showing but 1 complaint on that form. And we may get 10 speed tests that are bad, and we take those 10 and we challenge that census form. So every bit of that's going to matter. The more the merrier. Somebody in Pontotoc earlier tonight said, if I got 40 acres, should I go all over the 40 acres? Yes, absolutely. You do as many as you're willing to do in this process. At some point, it may say that you're going to exceed the data that you're just hit okay to keep trucking. That's just their way of talking to you in the app. The FCC speed test app saves the data from all tests you run in an archive file. So you're not having to do anything. When you hit run now, when it runs that test, just as I use this gentleman's phone, it's storing that in that application. It's there. It's storing latitude, it's storing longitude, it's storing download, upload, signal strength, everything. It at that point is captured. You do not have to worry about it.
We live in a sparsely populated area. So even though we have bad service, there's not that many of us. I mean, how's that going to be balanced out?
Well, what we're going to do is,
Relatively speaking, there's not that many of us.
if we have 5 tests in a census block that show bad, we can use those 5 to challenge. But, again, y'all are going to be our icing on the cake, right? We're going to come out in a Herculean effort, and we're going to take it. Our folks, I met with them today, and some of them ain't love with it. Orlando is, but some of them ain't. We're going to hit these counties 5 of us at a time, and we're going to go, and we're going to drive to Campbell, myself or somebody, and we're going to do those tests as best we can with the knowledge we have to record it. We're going to do that because we can see data legally that I can't let you see. Okay? So we know exactly who's saying what where. We know it. So we're going to be precisely targeting what we see on the FCC's data we get. What you're going to be doing is fanning out, right? And when we send ours in, and you send yours in, we're going to pair them up. We know we're going to have areas that runs out of the gap. You may show us 5 or 6 that we didn't know. All of that's going to go together. And I'm going to walk through you how that goes. It's good. I mean, you really have an opportunity with this to affect our ability to get this money and to challenge this. I can't say what the FCC is going to do. I think if nothing else, we're going to show them just how screwed up their process for challenging these things are. But we've got to do this or we're out of the ballgame. It's storing that on that data. If you've got that app open, up at the top, you'll see the little arrow in the box, that shows you if you want to email something. Excuse me, the wheel on the right. If you click that wheel on the right, it's going to say, next page, report results. Report results. When you click report results, it automatically takes all that data that you've been doing, all those speed tests that you've been doing, and puts them in a zip file. that fast. Yeah, see it, export results. Click it, it's gonna pull up an email. It's gonna pull up an email. When it says export archive results, okay, and then we've got an email address we're gonna want you to email those to, taskforce@psc.state.ms.us. When you get ready to export your results, I'm gonna talk to you about when we're gonna export. Very simple, go to the wheel, hit export results, okay, pulls up your email account, boom. You're gonna email them to taskforce@psc.state.ms.us. The minute you do that, we've got them, we print them out as a document, we go through sorting manually to put all this together. As of now, the FCC has said that we have to have all of this to them by November 1st, pretty much. So we got August, September to do it. We put in here, we're gonna ask you to get everything to us by October 1st. That is because we want you to get as much done between now and October 1st as we can, because we're working through the kinks of this. Tonight is the only 5th one of these meetings that we've held. And so while we're out of the gate, we're kind of working our way through it too. I mean, we rolled out the iPad sign up tonight. That's a new thing we're doing, because we're trying to figure out how to get you in here and out of here in an hour and make this program work. So we set October the 1st in the handout. It's when you just send them all to us. But we realized today that if everybody sends them all in on October the 1st, no work's gonna get done but that in the month of October. Probably, you're gonna hear from us by way of email and say, send them all to us on Friday. Just every Friday, email us what you've done that week. Now, I don't know that just yet, but probably that's where we're going with that. We'll know more by this time next week. The reason for that is we want to get it off of your phone, get it to us, and we want our people to start sorting through it. But if that's the case, we're going to be able to get a couple of more weeks in October that we can do field testing. We will take it all from there. All you got to do is download that, run the speed test every week you can, as much as you can, as much as you're willing to do. And when we get ready to correspond with you, you email it to us. That's all you have to do in this process. We take everything from there. Again, this task force's ability to help us and anybody y'all get to sign up in us is to fan out in as many places to supplement the work that we're going to come in and do as best we can with paid staff and with our employees. We will send all that to the FCC and we begin that challenge process. How many of y'all are Verizon customers? Okay. So y'all know some dead zones, I'm sure, in the county. You know places don't work. Please make sure you document those. Verizon is one of the ones we're having the biggest, toughest time with. We need all of you to document it. I just point that out for you. Are there any questions about this app? Is there any way you need me to walk back through any of that?
This is not a one-time deal, it's fine, we do it weekly.
As much as you want to do it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Again, you know, it's going to ask you if you want to go over the 100 that they delegate to you for data, and you can override that at any time.
All right, this little calendar right here,
Uh-huh.
click on that, we select a week and send.
No, ma'am. We're going to get that. As of right now, we're going to let you just do it. Just do the test. Let me say that to you, because when we get ready to export the results, it'll export everything. That really is for you to go back and look and see, I did 10 speed tests this week, what were my averages? Right, that's just kind of big. All right, download the app, run as many as you can, in as many places as you can. One of the reasons, again, that in that iPad that's going around, we're asking you to click yes, is that we have to tell the FCC that as a volunteer on our task force, we're actually going to put, you know, y'all's names in our minutes and make it official and all that, that you're collecting it under our supervision as part of our work. And that way, your results don't get thrown away when we send them in. If we don't go through that process, someone could, try to get your results thrown away. So that's just an easy reason we're asking you to click that, just to have a belt and suspenders to making sure this counts. We're going to continuously, in this effort, update you via email. Y'all understand, we got 28 more of these meetings to go. We got a long way to go, a short time to get there, and we're trying to pull this together as fast as we can, doing 2 a night on Monday nights, Tuesday nights, and Thursday nights. And so we're we're working hard to try to get this over with. There's no way we're gonna get back around to every county by October 1st. That ain't enough days on the calendar. So be watching for an email. We're gonna have a free conference call line that we're gonna probably every other week, or as things come about, we're gonna email you out and say, hey, we're gonna do a conference call with everybody on the task force in all 33 counties on Thursday at 6 o'clock that night. We'll send it out to you a week ahead of time. So if you've got certain questions you want to say, wait a minute, I want to make sure we talk about X. We're going to get your email back, and that way we're not trying to answer 400 questions on a 1-hour conference call, or a 30-minute conference call. So we'll do that. We'll work those out. That's going to be a way for us all to kind of get together and hear everything at one time. That email address that is on the last slide, taskforce@psc.state.ms.us. Everybody on my staff that's involved in this effort gets those emails. So if you've got a question, you get home tonight, you say, wait a minute, how does this work? Send that to us. You will hear from somebody at the Public Service Commission, hopefully within that day. We'll be flooded, as you might guess, with calls. I put up a Facebook post yesterday about this. I tell you what, it's hit 62,000 people, okay, with about 1,600 comments. I ain't ever gonna be able to answer all those comments. But it's just how much of a powder keg issue this is. You're paying for phone service. It ought to work when you pay for it. You ought to know up front where it's gonna work, where it's not gonna work. And, you know, I almost said last night, if I'm out, you pay me to be out. I'm not saying that at 11 o'clock. If I can do it, the president of AT&T ought to be out doing some of these field tests himself, you know. But we're going to try to keep these efforts together through conference calls, because you do that sitting in your living room without having to come to the courthouse as we go forward.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you better go to the end of your driveway and call in, right? That's a good point. So we're going to use conference calls and emails to try to keep everybody together. And we were going to give clear deadlines, plenty of lead time on things, but I got to be honest with you, and most of y'all have been involved in some of these efforts before. There are going to be things that we didn't anticipate tonight that are going to crop up next week. There are going to be hitches in something that didn't go the way we thought. But we're going to try to communicate that as early as we can, as widespread through email as we can, to try to just keep everybody understanding what's going on. I wish I could promise to you that we're going to be able to just make this happen like that, but I anticipate there'll be a few things we're going to need to adjust as we go through it. Many tests as you want, as you can. Be watching your emails on this so we can tell you when to get all that data into it. Please, if you know those dead spots, make a conscious effort when you're there to pull over on the side of the road, find the driveway, you know, don't endanger yourself. But stop. You do have to be stopped to do this, because it's recorded latitude and longitude. So we need to know exactly where you are to make this work. So that's standing and pull over on the side of the road. Please document those. Let me give you a little insight to the tower business. You have a lot of companies. I don't know if those are AT&T towers. Let me say that first, because they could very well not be. We've got towers in the state that have been built. We finally were able to get a tower activated up at Cotton Plant. We had been in a meeting up there, and we were able to do it with these funds that we're about to lose if we don't do this work. And Sandra McCollum had me up at Ebenezer Methodist Church. Jerry, I think you came up there that night, packed out room. Finally, we got that tower turned up. But you have towers throughout the state that have been built by an independent tower company. And their business model is they come to wherever your neighborhood is, they put a tower up, get a cheap land lease, and they just wait to sell antenna space on that tower to an AT&T. So don't let the towers fool you. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's it. This is a multi-pronged approach, because we're challenging them out, but we're also looking at what is actually going on with that service. But let me be clear about this. There is no doubt. I mean, if your car won't crank go down the road and your gas tank's empty, it's because you ain't got any gas. If you can't make a phone call and you can't get it, it's because you don't have a tower, or that tower does not have the capacity. There's no other reason known to man that service doesn't work except that. What you got in here, and I'm just going to tell the truth, what you got is a ton of big fat corporate greed. I mean, just very simple.
Yeah.
It's just what it is. You get the contract, you can't get out of the contract. They got you. They function in many cases as a monopoly without technically being. I mean, that's just the facts. But I can't solve that tonight. Congress would have to change the law, the legislature would have to change the law. What we can do is challenge these maps and work on them. And, but you're right. I mean, they can share towers, but they don't. Please start tonight or in the morning doing these. And you'll see just how pretty easy it is. Some of them take a little longer than others. Some of them are fast. Some of them are slow. It's all going to depend. It's still important, even if you show that you got 2 bars, but you know when you go to pull up Facebook or you go to do that text message, it doesn't work. That's time to do a speed test. Yes, ma'am.
So if I sign up on a task force and I've got 4 smartphones
Yes.
under my contract.
That's correct.
Can we put it on all 4 phones?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Even though, I mean, it would just be signed up?
Yes. You would need to be the one to press the button to do it. And I mean, only me and you and the Lord, only you and the Lord know whether you're the one that did it or not, but we get the FCC is going to be that. Because we have to swear on penalty of perjury that these tests were conducted as best as we know through this process. And I love all y'all, and I ain't never lost Union County an election, but I ain't going to jail for none of it, okay? So I ain't gonna sign it. That's the reason we got you, that's the reason we got you answering yes today. If you leave tonight and somebody says, I'd like to do that, because we're about to put this on Facebook, and tell people how to do it, because we know everybody can't get in a room, you know, we know that. But you're gonna have to email us and give us a statement, or we'll send you a statement, and you do a reply email, yes, and give us your phone number, your email address, your name, and say, I, Billy Bob Jones, want to volunteer for the task force. We email you and say, do you agree to do this, blah, blah, blah. You will make that, yes. So we print that email out, and so they're going to essentially do by email what you're doing on the iPad. But we encourage you to ask people to do that, okay? So that's got us on that. Any other questions on that? Any other questions on that? Please watch your emails. It'll come from me, or Keisha McDaniel, or from that task force email. So you'll see them coming from us. The phone number's on my card, the email address is on there. If you run into a problem, pick up the phone and call us. We've got plenty of people that if we don't know the answer, we get it for you as quick as we can, because y'all are helping us. So we're going to try to turn that around fast as we can. That's going to be key. Let's move to high-speed internet service in a minute. Tough problem. Not a lot of real, we got some easy answers, but not an easy process to get done. So, in your handout tonight, a couple of things we got. First is, just turn to, this is this map. This is from an independent group called Broadband Now. They simply report numbers as far as what is showing adequate in the state or not. And if you'll take a look, the number that ought to jump off the page actually is number 49. 49. That's where Mississippi ranks in connectivity of adequate high-speed service. 49. That's it? Got it? Okay. 49 in the United States. Do it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe New Mexico. I don't know. So, 36% of our state doesn't have adequate service. That really is a flawed picture. I'm going to tell you why it's flawed. Of the 70%, they're saying if you meet the FCC's guidelines of wired broadband, then you have 25% download speed, 25 megabits down, 3 up. That is really horse and buggy adequacy. Okay, 25 and 3 is as basic can get. You don't get much more basic than 25 and 3. You can see the numbers. 90.3% have access to wireline service. Again, that could be everything from dial-up to whatever. That's considered wireline. 7.3 to fiber optic. 67.8 to cable. 82 access to DSL. Again, that's using a very low bar to say it. But even using the low bar, we're still 49. Okay? Let that sink in a minute. Even using a standard that is very low, we still rank next to last in the United States. So, we have spent a long time trying to look into this, and I view this as a true crisis. And I don't use that, I don't throw that word around, you know, and just to say the word. It is a true crisis in our rural areas. It's hurting economic development, it's hurting healthcare, it's hurting your children's future, your grandchildren's future. It's drying up our rural communities people are leaving. Essentially right now, if you live in a rural community and you want to be in the modern world, you want to be in the modern economy, you want to take online courses, you want to do anything, you best be packing up and moving to town. That's where we are. It's just that simple. I've held 182 town hall meetings since I represented you on the commission. 182. And I've spent days and nights on the dirt and dusty roads of rural Mississippi, and I've never been to a community, I have never been to a town hall meeting in which people did not say, why can't we get service in our community? We don't have to educate rural people very much on why this matters. We don't have to educate rural communities in our state as to what the potential is. I don't think we even all realize, including your speaker here, all the potential that's there. But we've not had a way to solve it. We have just simply not had a way in which to solve it. For-profit companies are not going to these areas. They're not going. We wouldn't be here if this problem was solved. And this is to take away nothing from the AT&Ts, the C Spires, cable companies. They have their, this is a free market country, and thank God for it. They have a right to be in business, and we want to see them do good. The fact is, we cannot allow the fate of rural people in rural communities to sit in the boardroom of AT&T or to sit in the boardroom of Comcast. We've got to take this issue and this bull by the horns if we're going to save what's left of our communities and our state's future. We're a state that's 55% rural. 55%. Again, and that's a low standard. We're a rural state, much more than that. Speeds and internet connections in the country of Latvia are faster than in the state of Mississippi. Latvia, tiny country, has better internet service than you got. So we've been working on a way in which how do we solve this? How do you fix this problem and put it behind us? And so we rewound in our history when we met this same exact crisis 85, 75 years ago. In 1935, in the early 30s and early 40s, we had the same problem. Think about it just a minute. Rewind back here when there wasn't electricity. Right? You had electricity in the cities, but you didn't have electricity out in the county. The Army Light and Water brought it to the county. Thank God for Franklin Roosevelt, the Tennessee Valley Authority. You would have been 20 more years getting power. Roosevelt and the TVA saved our area. We would have been 20 more years getting it. But we had that problem in the 30s and 40s. Electricity was in populated areas, i.e. you get internet most of the time in the cities. Rural areas couldn't get it. So, Mississippi did what no other state in the country did. We said we're not going to stand for that. Rural people deserve service. And in Alcorn County, at McPeter's Furniture Store, they formed the first electric power cooperative in the United States of America. First ever. Now they're in all 50 states now, bringing power to rural people. But the first one, the first idea was formed in a room just like this at McPeter's Furniture Store, Corinth, Mississippi. The second rural electric cooperative was Pontotoc Electric. Their manager, Chuck Howell's here tonight. Second cooperative in the United States of America was formed Pontotoc Electric. They had the first power pole put up by TVA in Pontotoc. It's in our state's DNA to solve these types of problems amongst the people. Okay, I realize the Army Light and Gas and Water serves a lot of rural areas in this county. Same principles apply. I'm going to talk about how the cooperatives can bring the internet even in areas where the power is provided by somebody else. So we know that that model in fact works. it brought electricity to rural areas. It brought it to have an electric milking machine, a washing machine, studied by light bulb, not candlelight. My grandmother used to talk about everybody, every lady in our area of rural Monroe and Lee County were humpbacked because they was towed water from the well to the house, from the well to the house. The daily life of rural people was awful on a wood stove. I mean, everything we do down in convenience could be done. So we fixed it by coming together, forming a cooperative. We got it done. Something power. We got to figure out new life gas. We face the same crisis today with a different set of names and a different type of technology and a different quality of life. If you took everything you could read in the history books about electricity and bring it to rural areas, you pulled electricity out and you just whited that out and you wrote broadband or high-speed internet service, the stories are the same. You could just print that book again in 2018, you got the same thing. For-profit companies, they're not serving rural areas, rural people are suffering, nobody will do anything about it. So we began looking at how can we fix this problem in rural Mississippi. It is, for our rural people, one of the top economic development problems in our state. My job in our state law is to advance the economic development of the state and carrying out our duties. So that's why it's important to me. It's the number one issue we get called about, is broadband service. So we looked at where are they fixing it? Somebody's doing it, right? They some Mac Peters Funeral Home bunch somewhere in America fixing broadband, like we had folks in Corinth fixing electricity. Somewhere in this country, somebody has got together and fixed this problem. Somewhere they're doing it. And we didn't have to look far. 14 miles from the Mississippi line in Hamilton, Alabama. You've got an editorial about this in your packet. 14 miles from the Mississippi line in Hamilton, Alabama. Their electric cooperative there, Tom Bigby's Electric Association, Electric Cooperative in Hamilton, Alabama. Their board got together and said, you know what? Marion County and Lamar County is dying on the vine. NAFTA has screwed us over, just like it screwed over North Mississippi. My grandmama sold bridges for 40 years at Reeves in Nettleton, and those jobs are gone, they ain't never coming back. NAFTA killed Lamar County and Marion County just like what it did to us. And their board said, you know what, let's think about this. 1935, our people had a problem. They formed a cooperative, and we brought electricity. What really was the mission then? All right, it was bringing electricity. That was the action. But the mission was what? It's broader now. It was to improve the quality of life. That's really what you're doing. By selling electricity, you're improving that quality of life in the future of your areas. So those 9 board members authorized their manager to go out and start beginning to look at a cost-benefit study. And they said, you know what, this co-op's owned by the people. They own the substations, they own the trucks, they own the lines, they own the poles. We're going to look at what we can do with those assets to fix this broadband problem. And they came back with some cost studies, and some of them were high, and they went back to the drawing board. They went from a Cadillac down to a Chevrolet, and eventually they settled on a package to go into business and bring service not just to where they sell electricity, but throughout their county, because the counties matter, right? And they said, looked at the numbers, and Steve Foshee, who's their manager, who is one of the most visionary people in this field in the United States, told the board, said, we've done all the work, I'm putting it in your hands. What are we going to do? We know nobody's coming. We know these places are drying up. Coincidentally, if you're a cooperative, people are leaving. You ain't selling no electricity. There ain't no houses. Businesses are shut down. You ain't selling electricity. What does that do to the rest of the members? It raises their electricity costs. It's a vicious cycle. They laid it down. And in a 5-4 vote, the board said, let's go. Let's go. 5 phases. Let's start. And they began the model in the United States of America of how to solve this problem. In Marion County, there are 9,500 customers with Tom Bigby Electric Cooperative. 9,000. Chuck Denver, I think, has got 17,000. Tom Bigby Electric's got 47,000. Little old Tom Bigby Cooperative in Hamilton, Alabama, 9,500 customers with 2 words: vision and leadership. Vision and leadership. Vision and leadership. Said we're going to go. we're gonna step out. 5 before they voted to go. They started construction in April of 2017 on phase 1. They anticipated that 4 out of 10 houses they passed would take service from them. They're picking up over 6 out of 10. They did the math. They said, we may not ever get any grant money, we may not ever get a dime of anything, we're gonna have to pay the bill. And they set their rates. They're offering fiber to the home in rural Marion and Lamar County, 100 up, 100 megabits up, 100 megabits down, for $49.95 a month. Think about that. Whoa, that's 4 times the average speed in the state. Download 30-something times up, fiber to the home. They'll offer you a gigabyte of service. Now these are unlimited capacity, so it ain't like satellites you use up, it's unlimited, all you want to use. A gigabyte up, a gigabyte down for $79.95 a month. Now I'm in Melbourne, I'm on cable, I pay $87 a month for 35 and 5 or something like that. Okay? They are transforming rural Alabama. Transforming in a way that nobody could have dreamed when they voted to do that. And you know, y'all had that vision in Union County. Thank God for John David Pennebaker and Billy McCoy for passing the 87 highway program. You wouldn't have 4-lane roads in Mississippi. And they stepped out when it wasn't popular. So Tom Beaver Cooperative Board did it. Steve laughs when he tells this story because he said it was a 5-4 vote. He didn't know if he was going to lose his job. They spent all these years on it. He said, but we didn't have to worry. Every vote since then has been 9-0. You know, that board realizes they're making their members happy. And they're changing the areas in their state. So we looked at it and said, okay, if they do it in Alabama, why can't we do it in Mississippi? Why can't Chuck Howell with his board and the members of Pontotoc Electric go in that business? And if they want to bring broadband internet service to all their members and maybe come into New Albany Light and Water territory, if they're allowed to, why can't they do it? Because in Alabama, Tom Bigby Electric Cooperative is serving broadband, and Alabama Power's electric customers. They just worked out a deal and they bring in broadband to help everybody. So we looked, and we got a law that was put on the books in 1942 in Mississippi, the only law still on the books in the United States of America that we can find, that says that an electric cooperative can only sell electricity. That's it. So we got to change the law. It's that simple. We just got to change the law. If we want to have a chance in Mississippi like they're doing in Alabama, we got to change the law. You cannot expect Pontotoc Electric Board of Directors, any board of directors in the state, to say, yeah, or New Albany Light and Gas and Water, if they decided to do this, if they don't have the legal authority to do it, you can't expect them to go out on a guess. Because we're talking about tens of millions of dollars of investment. We got to change the law. We're going to be bringing a bill in this legislative session that will do that. That will fix it. The Electric Cooperatives of Mississippi, which is the trade group for all the co-ops, they voted about 3 weeks ago to start working on language to get a bill together so we could just have one bill to do this. In June, we had 46 members of the House and Senate. 46 members of the House and Senate traveled with me and Chuck and others to Hamilton, Alabama to look at their exam. 14 miles from the Mississippi line. 25 Republicans, 21 Democrats, coast, hills, Delta, didn't matter. We had 46 members of the House, Senate, almost 1/3 of the Mississippi legislature. Y'all, that ain't nothing to sneeze about. That's pretty good in today's political environment, and in today's workload, and in the summer. 46. And they saw the need. We've had 18 legislators, I think, this number's funny, that have already said, look, I'm ready to author a bill. Steve Holland's already got one ready to pre-file. Okay? The co-op, their association, is working to come up with a bill themselves. Personally, I think we need to get behind their bill. They're the people that are going to be doing it. They're working out that language. So we're going to have a bill. The bill will do essentially 3 things once the wording is worked out. Doesn't take 1 dime of state appropriations. Not a penny out of the treasury. Not a penny comes from a school, a road, a highway patrol, DHS, Forestry Commission, nobody, no tax dollars, 0 goes as needed in the bill. Not appropriation. Okay? So it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost the state of that. Because you're just allowing the cooperative, if they want to do it, to do it. If they want to go borrow the money, we allow them to do it. Number 2, it doesn't increase any regulations. We're not looking at the Public Service Commission to exercise regulatory control over this aspect of their business and statute. We will have to designate them for federal dollars, like on the cell phone towers in that pot. if they apply, if they want to go through the Universal Service Fund and Connect America, but that's a help to them, not a hurt. So there's no new regulations. Number three, it does not stop any existing company from going and serving. Doesn't stop it. So if AT&T, C-Spire, MaxSouth, Comcast decide, hey, we're coming to Evan. We're coming to Evan. And they want to go, they can go. What it does give the people in Evan is another option. Right? Competition is a good thing for consumers. You know it, I know it. It's the American way. We know it. So the bill takes no money, increases no regulation, no government, no big government, no money, no government regulations except for trying to help them get funds. And number three, it doesn't prohibit any company from going out and doing the same thing we're asked to do. Here are the facts. These companies are not going to rural areas, and many of them don't want anybody else to. I said the other night, and he messed it up in the Oxford paper, I said, it's like your old ex-girlfriend. You don't want to date her, but you don't want nobody else to date her. You know, ain't nobody bringing service to these areas, but they don't want nobody else to bring service to them. And that's unacceptable. It's just completely unacceptable. So we're going to have a bill. We got to change the law. Already, foot draggers and people who are just, sky's falling, well, we need to wait to 2020. Can't do it in 2019, 2019 is some of them say it's election year, we can't do it in 2019. Look, if you don't do it in 2019, you are not going to get it done. It's that simple. We got a chance, we got a buzzer, we got a minute on the clock, and we're down 1 point. If we make a basket, we're going to win. We can pass this bill in 2019 with your help if you're inclined to support it. Marty Rogers and Nikki Brown have both attended the events. My understanding from them is they're supportive of this effort, but you got to encourage them. You know, you got to encourage them, because the first thing going to happen is you're going to have some folks come up to them and lobbying for other people and say, well, this thing can hurt us. It can hurt us. Look, I'm in elected office, and I can tell you, when citizens call me about a problem, it rattles your cage. Okay? When I hear from 5 people somewhere about a problem, I get out of a coffee shop and figure out what we're going to do about it. And the same way with legislators. When they hear from people they represent, it matters. Don't underestimate the impact you can have. So please, if you support this effort, this change in the law, I ask you to mention that to your legislators. Make sure they know it. The commission is going to pass, and I feel like pretty 99% sure we're going to pass it unanimously, Democrats and Republicans. We're a split commission. We're going to pass a resolution asking the legislature to change the law so that we go on record asking them to. We're going to advance this. Part of this task force is going to be us putting out information as we move forward so you can keep up with this process. I'm just going to put it out here to be honest with you. Rural areas are not going to get internet service if we don't take that Alabama model. And if you're willing to accept where we are today, if what you've got and your grandchildren got is good enough, then hey, cut on out. Because it's we don't need to be talking about it. Well, what we have is not good enough. And so we got to fix it. I want to tell you one quick thing, and we got to get the law changed. As I said, cell phones, we got something you can leave here tonight and do. High-speed internet service, we got to get you brought up to date on what's happening and let you know as we move forward with a solution. To say this about the cooperatives real quick, there's been widespread interest by all of the cooperatives. 19 of the 26 have already done a cost-benefit analysis to see, hey, what would our rates be, how long we got to pay it off, all that sort of stuff. So there's interest, there's movement there. You know, but if you're a member of the co-op, you know a board member, and you think this is a good idea, encourage that board member. They're going to be sitting there. They have the power to make those. There's one over here. I didn't mean to say, she pointed at you. I didn't. They have the authority to make those investments, though, on behalf of the members. Northeast, yeah. Well, Hayward's already, he's been trying to get this done, so y'all help a lot of people. But this matters. And we ain't got nobody but our cooperative movement to fix it. That's it. That's just the bottom line of it. And the future of your community, the future of your children, the future of our state is in hand. If I were to ask you tonight, what is the one thing you can look at a county, you can look at a city, and measure how well it's doing? The first thing is how many people are moving there, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. That's how you measure it. How many people are moving to Melbourne around Farmington? New Albany, Union County. It's the first sign of growth, of health. The last 3 years running the state of Mississippi has lost people. Last 3 years, we've lost people. More is left than has come in. Only state in the South that has lost population. You can look it up. U.S. Census Bureau has it. We've lost population. Did we lose all those people? Are we losing people simply because they don't have high-speed internet service? No. I'm not naive, and I'm not going to say that guy good, but I can tell you this, not having it ain't happening. It ain't happening. By end of 2024, the U.S. Department of Labor says that 500,000 jobs will be created in the United States of America that you can work from home in business technology, information services, computer technology. You can work from home. 500,000 jobs. How many folks in rural Mississippi got a chance at that job today? Goose egg, none, nobody. Those jobs pay 6 figures, 3 and 4 times what the average Mississippian makes. Those are opportunities for your children, for your grandchildren, for you to live and work from home. And we're not going to do something like that because there might be somebody under that gold legal in Jackson that doesn't like the idea of it. Shame on us. So the opportunities are there. I want to tell you 2 things, and I'm going to take the questions. 2 stories. The first one's, again, about Hamilton, Alabama. The night that board voted 5-4, they had no idea in their mind, just as y'all won't know when y'all get ready to go. They had no idea in their mind, really, what all they were doing. What really miracle they were creating. I mean, they stepped out. They had vision and leadership. And they said, you know what, I may not even use a computer myself, my grandkids. And they wanted to fix it. They're going to announce a partnership, I believe Steve said, the next 3 or 4 months between UAB and MD Anderson. And I said this to Pond Doctor earlier. When I say MD Anderson, I don't have to say any more about what we're talking about, right? I mean, nobody here goes to MD Anderson because they're well or because they got the flu. They go because they got cancer. And UAB's wonderful. You got Lamar County, Marion County, they're rural counties in Alabama. Same situation we got. Mama gets cancer, aunt gets cancer, somebody's got to pack up, get them an apartment, get them a hotel room for a month, and then y'all know these people. I know these people. They're there, and somebody's getting the whole family life is turned upside down. And they're there trying to get cancer treatment. Well, you don't go to MD Anderson because their cafeteria food's good, the nurses are a lot nicer, and their beds are flooded. You go to MD Anderson for the intellectual brain of those doctors, and for them to come up with a plan of treatment that they can administer to get you well. So Steve Foshee, again, a visionary guy, said, wait a minute, we got rural hospitals that are drying up. They're dying on the vine in Marion and Lamar County. And we know, incidentally, if you live more than 50 miles from the hospital, you got a double chance of dying if you have an emergency. Just putting that out there. All right, so they said we got to fix that. Steve went to work with UAB and MD Anderson. They're going to be able, because of their cooperative getting in this business, because they're going to have so much capacity, a terabyte service, that if you were to, God forbid, get cancer, somebody in your family was, you can go to MD Anderson, you can see your doctor, you'll have to go for that initial visit. I'm not in the healthcare business, but this is what people there tell me. It's going to be available to Steve and the citizens in Alabama. You get worked up, you come back home. And because that service is so fast, that doctor, by live cam, can sit in the hospital in Sullivan, Alabama, and look at your vitals, look at everything going on with you, does not have to be in the room with you, you ain't got to be in an apartment. They're sitting there looking at it, and you can take your treatment within driving distance of your house. Now, think about what that just did for that family. Think about what that just did to that patient. How many people do you know, I'm on a rural health care board, how many people do you know won't go to the doctor because they're scared that their daughter is going to have to miss their grandchild's ball game? I mean, you know those people. I know those people. This ain't gonna go. They don't want, they got a job doing. I don't want to bother the kids. This helps with that program. This saves the stress on that family. This improves their lives. When that board voted 5, and those 5 hands went up, they had no idea that they would be now talking about this type of partnership that is going to change the trajectory of health care in those counties. if they can do it 14 miles from the Etowah County line with 9,500 customers of a little grit and a little sweat and a little vision and a little leadership. We can do it here. You know, we can do it here. So they're changing healthcare. People are beginning to move back. People aren't leaving those counties. And they want to stay because they feel like, you know what, I've got the best of both worlds. I can live on the family farm, and I'm connected. I can do everything I want to do right from here. Steve and them have been practical. They've said to people, hey, guess what? We're not going to get to that most rural house tomorrow. Ain't going to happen. We got to try to hook up as many customers in the populated areas as we can first, so we need to make money to lose money. We got to build up our revenue in the cities to be able to lose it when we put down 1 drop per mile. They're hooking up 20 houses a day. They have the capacity to hook up 20 houses a day in rural Alabama. 2,400 people on the wait list. Sonny Perdue, President Trump, Secretary of Agriculture, saw them as so much of a model. He personally, Chuck was there, I was there, personally brought $3 million of grant money and said, we want to show the country this works. This works. Congress, both parties, just put $600 million in the farm bill that would allow electric cooperatives to take that grant money and get going. How much of that money can we get in Mississippi today? None. Now they get it in Alabama. They're getting our money in Alabama and Arkansas and Montana and New York and Maryland, but we can't get any of it because we have a horse and buggy law on the books that the special interests want to keep there. Let's just tell it like it is. They like it because it's business as usual. And we got to get the law changed. Steve and them are changing the world. Real life example in Mississippi, and I'll take your questions. Told you I've been to 182 town hall meetings. I've had these conversations with people all over the state. And I was in French County, down in Choctaw County, on a cold night, a little snow on the ground. And I announced we're going to have a town hall meeting. And grand total, 6 people showed up. And I don't blame them. It's cold, snow on the ground. I wouldn't have gone out to come see me either, even if I was mad about whatever. And a lady was there, and I want you to think about her situation. She was there. She said she had lupus. She'd gotten it under control. I don't know anything about lupus, but I understand from people that you can you never get make well from it, but you get it back. She had been on government assistance, what we'd call welfare. SNAP, TANF, temporary assistance for needy families. That. She got 3 kids. Husband left. 3 babies. Had lupus. Got it under control. And wanted to do better with her life. And she realized that, you know what, she could go to work at the hospital in Choctaw County as an LPN if she could get her certificate from home community doctor. So she goes and applies. Now, these are real stories that faces behind what I'm telling you that we know. She signs up to get that certificate. She can't go and sit in the classroom. She got 3 babies at home, right? She needs to be able to juggle life and advancement. I was sitting on the board of Etowah Community College the year that non-traditional students passed traditional students. All right, more people enrolled non-traditional either after hours online than people came sit in the classroom. And that, I ain't been on that board in 11 years. Tells you how much, no telling what the numbers are. She couldn't go to school. She couldn't go to class. She needed to be able to take tests, do it online. She didn't have any internet service. But she figured, you know what, they got it at the library in French County. I'll go down there. Now, y'all, this is a single mama with 3 kids taking the risk to try to get in a program to get herself better, to do better for her kids. She said, I had to sit outside the French County Library to do discussion boards, to download my lectures, to turn in assignments, to take my tests. And she said, well, I mean I had to sit out there. I don't mean I'm in my car working on my laptop. She had said I had to bring a chair, go sit under the window. Picture this, under the window, kids in the car playing games on their phones while mama's sitting under the window, taking a test, downloading a lecture. And she said if it rained, I'd go get back in the car. If it's cold, I have to bring a coat or blanket. I got more respect for that woman than I got anybody that holds elected office in this country. She's trying to do her best. And she, at a chance to help herself and her children, has no ability to have adequate service because we have sat on our rear end in the state of Mississippi and said, well, somebody else will fix that problem. You know, I'm sick of our state telling ain't it awful stories. Ain't it awful? We got this. Yeah, it's awful. But the question is, what are we doing about being awful? And that's a real life example. And I'll tell you what, I bet you there's 100 people in Union County tonight, same situation that way. Thousands across the state of Mississippi, same situation. You can't expect people to try to do better for their lives if we don't give them the basic tools in which to do it. We can't say, you need to go get an education and you need to go to school, but you ain't got any roads. You just have to walk, do the best you can. Get real. Get real from a state policy standpoint. We know there's a model that works. It works in a co-op much smaller than almost all the co-ops around us. And they did it because they had guts and they wanted to see their community better. We got to change that law. It's just that simple. We got to change that law. Rossboro, as I said earlier tonight, said that giant sucking sound you'd hear when NAFTA passed would be jobs leaving the United States, and he was 100% correct. The sucking sound you hear today are your children and grandchildren packing up and leaving. You got folks in the state of Mississippi that only talk to their grandchildren by long distance telephone because they're gone. And they ain't coming back. They don't see any future. We can provide them a little bit of that by simple change in the law. And so that's what we're going to be working on. I wish tonight I could say, you know what, sign this sheet of paper, we're going to change that law. If that's the case, I'd brought a case of pens, wouldn't be signed. But it's going to come to a head. There's going to be a bill in that legislature. They're going to be co-ops working on their bill at very minimum, but we've got legislators, like I said, Steve Allen's already got a bill ready to go. We got legislators interested in this, and we're going to have a chance to put our foot on this, and as all as elected officials say, here's where we stand. And that's where we're going to be.